Welcome to the Oddity Shop, where the bizarre is always on sale.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Oddity Shop. I am here with the lovely, gorgeous... Oh, no, I was talking about Reptar. And Kara... I almost warned you, Parakovic.
One day you'll just say Kara.
Yeah, but that's just I don't know, the lovely Kara. That's just kind of a letdown. You gotta have more syllables.
Wonderful best friend, co-host, soulmate, twin flame, Kara.
Oh my God. Welcome back to the podcast where we talk about the creepy, weird, bizarre, spooky, haunted shit from around the world. What is up with you?
I won't go too far into it, but I'm sure you've heard of this and everybody else, but energy vampires are real. I have been going through it. You can attest to this. While you've been having a wonderful week of vacationing with family and friends, I have been going through it to the point where you thought I was dead, probably.
Yeah. It was another week where we just really didn't talk to each other much. Thank God.
But here's the thing, you always know, I don't even have to say anything. You'll be like, I know you're not okay. I can tell. I love you. Here if you need me. And then if I don't respond or anything, you're just like, it's fine.
Right. It's I know in those mornings. That's why I sent you gifts of puppies this morning.
Yes, which is really weird. Lynn, my mother, texted me today too, which is just so funny because she texted me. And today actually really wasn't a rough day. All last week and whatever, 2 weeks up to today was. But she just wrote, "Hi, honey." This is cute. She wrote calling, even though she texted me. "Hi, honey, calling to see how you are. Just having a mother's intuition. I hope your day is going well. Love you." And I'm like,
God, you were putting off the negative vibes to all of your loved ones this morning.
You know what's really weird is today it wasn't even a negative day. That's why I was like, it's strange.
It was residual from yesterday because I kept having dreams that I kept trying to call you.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. So other than that, energy vampires are real. And sometimes they're your loved ones.
Oh, no.
And just, it's just people suck the life out of you. They don't mean to. It's not intentional. It's just there were a lot of things going on that I won't even get into because it doesn't even matter. But yeah, I was going through it.
Well, I was relaxing up north. And let me tell you, the amount of lazy. So I was working I didn't work on the podcast. I didn't work on the property management. All I did was my main job that I had to do. And I was so tired the whole time I was up north because I finally just slowed down, but it was so needed.
You felt guilty though a little bit that you weren't working on some pod stuff, but
I would have felt way more guilty if I was at home and not doing anything, just not being in my house and being at the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Way better.
Yeah.
I also did play with the EMF and the spirit box a little bit. Didn't get anything.
Is that good or bad? I don't know.
At that point, my sister and brother-in-law had left, so it was probably good because I was by myself.
Oh, yeah. You would have been a little freaked out.
Okay, can I tell you something, though? So, I'm getting ready to go camping in 2 weeks. I have been a hammock camper for years.
Mm-hmm.
Nick's going to come up for part of it. I'm just getting too old
he is?
for hammock. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, cute.
So my tent came in today.
Oh, you got a tent?
And I wanted to make sure that the air mattress I got, because it's not a huge tent, and I got a queen size, but I got one of those really deep ones. So I'm like, Julia, time me, because this tent says it is a 7 to 9 minute setup.
Did she record this also?
At one point I asked her how much time I had left, and it took her a long time to look at the timer. I'm pretty sure there's snaps. So have fun with that later.
Yes.
6.5 minutes from brand new boxed tent to fully put up in the living room.
I love this.
Yes, it was. It was right after work when I should have been doing other things.
Did the bed fit?
So
oh no,
I think it was really, really tight. But because I set the tent up in my living room, I couldn't stake the corners out. So it kept coming in.
Well, because you're going to put the air mattress in first and then blow it up once it's in there, right? Or would you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you could probably make it fit.
Yeah, no, I blew it up and fit it through the doorway. It just takes up the entire tent. But I think I'll have about 2 foot on one side and a foot on another, so it'll be perfect.
Oh, cute. Cute.
Yeah. I know, but I'm a tent camper now.
How many days are you alone?
I'm actually not doing any alone this year.
Thank God, because every time I feel like I hate it.
it'll be me and Chelsea Tuesday through Friday,
Okay, good.
and then the boys are coming Friday through Monday.
Her boy, your boy? Okay,
Yep.
cute. Okay. I feel much better about that.
I kind of wish I had like one night. I love my alone camping, but whatever.
And I get it. And I think I would I actually know I would love it so much because it would just be so peaceful, but it's just so scary and dangerous. And like, only because people murder people in the woods, not for anything other than that. Like, nothing, you'd be fine otherwise. I just mean because murder.
Fair.
Enough.
Okay.
Is that the story you had to tell me?
Yeah, I was really proud. I beat the time on the
Wait,
box.
I'm sorry. What did the box say?
7 to 9.
And you did it.
And I clocked in at 6:37. Rainfly and all, baby. From a tent I have never even seen before.
Now, was this like cracking open the box too? Or was it already out of the box?
So, okay, I took it out of the box, but then once I took, the tent comes in a bag, I opened the bag, and it was in another box inside. I'm like, Julia, this is like working against me. So I did have to go through one box.
Okay. All right. I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
Because they're probably thinking outside of the box. Oh, outside of the box.
Yeah. Out of the box. Isn't that like a Disney thing? I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Do you have a question for me?
Yeah, actually I do.
Hold on. You're probably making it up right now.
No, I'm not. Oh, I rearranged my little bit of a setup 2.5 seconds ago, right when we first started. And now I'm realizing why I didn't have it this way. Because I feel constricted. Anyway, I do have a question for you. So being a homeowner, what's the craziest thing you've had to deal with so far? What would you...
I mean, we've talked about it so many times on the podcast right when we started. But
we did?
It was, the squirrels.
There's squirrels in my walls. Was that the craziest? Or what was it with the bee in the kitchen?
We had a couple
something?
wasp nests that, no, it kept coming into Julia's room.
Maybe that's what... But wasn't there water leaking in the kitchen wall or something? The ceiling?
Oh my God. No, you're right. That was day one of me being in the house. I took the bath upstairs.
Oh, yes.
And the overflow valve wasn't twisted. And all of my bath water, because I put the level up really high, I think the overflow, it all came out of my kitchen ceiling.
I remember that you were so upset
down.
Because you were so excited to take a bath in your new home.
So I was still smoking cigarettes then. And the only towel I had in the entire house, because I wasn't even fully moved in, is what I was wearing. And I just dropped it on the puddle and I went outside stark naked to smoke a cigarette. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm done. I'll return this. I'm over it.
I'll return the house.
Yeah.
Take it back.
I have my receipt.
Okay. Vague. But what if the craziest thing that happened to you in your house was blood?
I mean, I have blood in this house.
Okay.
But if it was like not my blood.
Ugh. Are you ready?
All right, hit me.
With my best shot?
Fire away. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. You do not need to hear me sing.
Okay. 1114 Fountain Drive is a 1945, 1,100 square foot home in Atlanta. In the fall of 87, it was occupied by William and Minnie Clyde Winston. And this had been their home for the past 22 years. Do you know this? You're looking your faces.
Those names sound really familiar. Fountain Drive rings a bell, but I don't remember blood. So I don't know. Maybe it'll come back. We'll see.
All right. So like I just said, they had lived there the past 22 years. However, on that fall night in 87, they experienced something they hadn't ever before. Minnie, 77, decided she deserved a nice bath on the evening of September 8th. So funny that we just talked about your bath. You see, her husband, William, 79, or Willie, as he went by, was not in the best health. So Willie had poor kidneys and he underwent dialysis regularly. So he had like one of those machines. And Minnie was his primary caregiver because they were both retired. So she was, always there.
Right.
And caring for anything is exhausting. So a long soak in the bath seemed warranted. At 11:30 p.m., Minnie is over her bath. She's probably all pruned up and the water is cold. As she gets out, she is greeted with a sticky-ish sensation on her toes. That in itself is horror. Horror. Things between your toes.
Like when you walk in grass. Ugh.
I mean, I love walking in grass, but like when you walk in like mushy grass or like you step in like dog shit and it mushes between your toes.
Okay. Ugh.
Okay. Okay. When she examines what she stepped in, she realizes that it seems to be blood. And not just a small little pool of blood, but it seems to be bubbling up from the floor tiles.
Bro.
So without hesitation, she immediately thinks that perhaps Willie had tried to come in and get help or something. So she kind of runs into the bedroom where Willie is sound asleep. Minnie herself isn't bleeding, nor her husband. So who is? The couple has no pets or children that are still living in the house. They have had no visitors, and the blood wasn't there prior to her bath. And Willie's dialysis machine was checked, and there was no leak. Because, I guess, dialysis, that just cleans out your blood, right? It pumps your blood and it cleans it.
Yeah, so it like pumps it through some sort of scientific device that
cleans it and puts it back through.
Yeah.
So they checked
Correct.
that wasn't leaking.
But it's not like it holds your blood, I don't think.
I mean, I guess at a certain point it has the blood in it while it's cleaning it, so maybe it could. I don't know. But anyway, it was just that they checked that and it was fine. So as the couple tries to figure this mystery out, it's apparent that this is a bigger mystery than anyone could have imagined. Does this sound familiar at all or no?
No, now it's really not at all.
Upon investigating, the blood-like substance was found everywhere. The hallway had it on the walls. It was found in the kitchen, the living room. I think it said 4 or 3 out of the 4 bedrooms, or I can't remember if it was a 4 or 5 bedroom, but the only bedroom that didn't have it was the master bedroom. It was discovered in the basement. It was even in the crawl space.
So is it like covering the whole floor or just like
no, it's just
patches?
Like splattered. Like if you look up pictures like in the basement, like where the corner of the walls meet, it's all like kind of looks like, I guess you could describe it as like somebody like dumping it on the bottom part of the wall and it just like drips down into a puddle.
It's kind of giving me like the bathroom scene from It, where Bev is there and it's like bubbling out of the sink and then goes everywhere.
Seen that clip for 5 seconds, but I've never watched that movie because I can't. But I do know what you're talking about. And that's kind of like what in one of the quotes she was described saying that it was like a fountain of blood in the floor. Like it was bubbling up from the tiles.
Gross.
And at this point, it seemed that the house itself was bleeding. Willie and Minnie didn't know what else to do, so they called 911. Because, like, what would you do? I have no idea.
Well, first, I would pass out if I saw that much
blood.
blood.
And here's the thing. I'm saying blood, but blood substance, because they don't really know what it is, but it's blood. Like, it looks like blood everywhere. So police and EMTs were dispatched to the home, and EMTs couldn't find any injuries on the couple. And according to a report from the Associated Press, Willie was quoted saying, "I'm not bleeding, my wife's not bleeding, no one else was here." Not only was no one else in the home, but the Winstons locked the house and set the security alarm at 9:30. So it couldn't be anyone that came in the house like while Willie was sleeping.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
So while Willie was sleeping and she was in the bath, like soaking in her bath, it's not like anyone could have come in because she had set the alarm at 9:30. There's also no evidence that there was an intruder prior to the alarm being set. So it's just so weird. As I'm sure you can imagine, during the investigation, it was thought that this was blood. But because there was no victim, they were thinking it could have possibly been something else.
Like what?
I know. So this is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode as far as the story, because I feel like it needs to be more of like, what the hell's going on, like a discussion. Because if I stop and think that this is not blood, what, as a homeowner, what could just be coming out of my walls and floors that is blood color?
So I guess when you said floor originally, not the walls, I'm thinking like what year is this?
87.
Okay, so 87, they used to, your sewer lines in places used to be made out of like basically a wax lined paper that they just put over and over and over again.
Okay, yeah.
It's called Orangeburg pipe. That, like,
freaking nerd.
If it splits, and you're on like clay-like soil, you could get almost like a blood-like like sewer substance.
Okay. Yeah.
Reddish. Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking at first, like coming up through the floor.
But then the walls
isn't going to come up with pressure to get on your walls and stuff.
Right. Yeah. So I would be right there with them. I would be calling 911 and just thinking this is blood because I would have no idea what else this could be. All right. So they obviously test this, right? And the lab results show that it was indeed blood. And human blood. Okay.
What?
Yeah. And now Willie, obviously, because of his health issues and dialysis, they already know what his blood type is, and it's type A. Minnie gets tested, and she's also type A. This human blood seemingly bleeding from the home was type O.
Okay.
Yeah, so where
No,
are you
keep
at?
going.
No,
I'll
no,
come
no.
back
Where are
to
you?
it.
No, where are you at right now?
That I'm thinking, all right, so if they're doing dialysis at home, they're going to have extra blood on hand in case anything happens. What is it? O negative is the universal?
I think so.
So maybe they had like extra
But I don't-
blood bags?
It didn't sound like they have blood bags. I don't think you get, I could be wrong, but it doesn't sound like they had any sort of blood, because part of the investigation was where the hell could they have possibly gotten this blood?
And like that much.
Well, exactly. And it's O and they're both A. All right. You and me, or you know me, and there's no way at this point that I wouldn't be thinking that somebody else was living in my home. Like they're frogging it up in my house. I don't know at this point.
I mean, you think they're frogging it up in your house with no evidence other than one Coke can you can trace back to the contractor.
My next line was, I don't care if there's no evidence. Because I don't care. Somebody's living in my house.
You're going to create a crime whether somebody's left a trace or not in your mind.
This is it. There's somebody living in this house. I don't care that they couldn't figure it out. Somebody was there. Because I'm just going to get upset because it's crazy to me. Okay.
But if they lost that much blood, how did that somebody leave?
Exactly. And the alarm was
and
still
not leave
set.
like a footprint or
The alarm was still
Weird.
set. Okay. Yep. At this point, police informed the press that they had no desire to investigate any further. And so on September 12th, the New York Times quoted Police Lieutenant Horace Walker saying, "We have no leads at this time. We will continue a routine investigation. And if we find that no crime was committed, we're through with it. As we see it now, there has been no crime. Someone could have done this as a hoax. It concerns me that we don't have any answers. And there was no crime. Nothing was missing from the home. There's no physical damage and no apparent victim. Nothing. So they stopped."
That's so weird.
I mean, it's obvious why they would stop, because you can't put those types of resources into something that just like, there was no crime, right? Like you have to put
Right.
those resources into the things that you need to solve, because
Especially, you said this is New York.
that was the New York Times. This is in Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're still busy. in
Well, right.
Atlanta.
But that's what I'm saying. So it does make sense that they stopped this. I'm not mad about that. There's way more cases that I would love to protest that they stopped looking into, but this is not one of them because there's no crime. It's weird as hell, but there's no crime.
I don't know. If I was one of those cops, though, I don't know if I could let it go. I'm like, you know what? I'll take this one on.
I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't sleep for the rest of my life. Ugh, God.
Did it ever happen again?
I mean, I'll get to that, but no, it didn't.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
As I'm sure you can guess, the public was eating this story up. A bleeding house. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. How could you not?
Right. So I found a newspaper edit, and it's kind of hard to read, but I will do my best. Okay. So it says, "Puzzling house of blood still baffles Atlanta police." That's the caption. And it says, "Atlanta, mysterious splatterings of human blood on the floors and walls of an elderly couple's home last month remain a puzzle to detectives who have found no crime connected to the incident. We have not stopped looking because we know houses don't bleed," said Sergeant Bolton. And then it kind of cuts off, but the next thing says, "Atlanta homicide detective Steve Cartwright found no something or signs of a breaking in." And then it just goes on about blood splattered on the walls, floors, and at least 5 rooms of the house, usually near heating vents in the floor. And that's really all I can make of it. Or police said that they have pursued the investigation as an unusual occurrence.
Okay. No, you said it was human blood. I was going to say maybe.
Right. They know it's human
Like if
blood.
it's in the heat, coming from the heat vents, like
But they know.
a critter got stuck in like the fan of.
And that's kind of what I was thinking at first. But no, it was human blood. Mm-hmm. As Willie was sick, he stayed bedridden as the frenzy of people gathered outside his house, while Minnie was forced to endure the constant doorbell rings and knocking, phone call after phone call, and reporters and curious neighbors standing on her lawn. The Associated Press reported that Minnie stated on September 10th, "I still don't know where the blood came from, and I'm tired of all these people asking me all these questions. If anybody comes here today, I'm not going to open the door. The phone rang all night, people asking me questions. I'm fed up with all of this." And I just can't imagine having my personal space invaded like that. Like, on top of the fact that you have an ill husband, there's blood all over your house for no reason. And then you have all of these people, like a zoo outside. Or I guess you're the zoo.
Especially because like kidney failure, right? It's a long, slow process of you watching your loved one pass. Now you have people gawking basically in your windows. No.
And could I blame them? No, because I would want to be really curious too. But you and I would never be the person that would just go to somebody's house and stand on their lawn and be knocking on their door. But we would be very curious.
No, we're going to look it up online and tell people the stories later.
Right, because now it's 2023. But at this time, it's like, yeah, what do you have to wait for an article in the news? And that was like a little tiny blurb. So yeah, it's like, I guess those curious Karens out there are going to be pounding on the door, like, answer my questions. You like that? You laughed. Curious Karens.
Curious Karens. I do like that.
Okay, at this point, I guess you're probably wondering about the house before Willie and Minnie.
I was. In fact, in my head, I go, I wonder about the house before Willie and Minnie.
Okay. Upon looking into it, the house was discovered, or it was discovered that Albert Thompson and his wife, no name, because, you know, women didn't matter at that time, were the previous owners. And sadly, in 1950, Albert was T-boned by another driver. And I don't know why I said T-boned so weird, but I did. He was T-boned by another driver, and he suffered internal...
We are 46 episodes in, and you're going to point out that you say a word
Yeah,
weird.
but I noticed I said it weird. He suffered internal bleeding. And this spun off the thought that because it was close to the anniversary of the accident, that the house started to internally bleed.
You just turned Russian again. Or some sort of...
Like a vampire.
Oh, okay. I see
I was
where
trying
you're
to be Dracula.
Transylvanian.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it. It landed.
Which, I'm not opposed to that theory. I just don't like it. But I'm not.
I don't know how a ghost is going to conjure, like, manifest real human blood.
And make my old house bleed just because I internally bled from a car accident. So, all right. Like I said, I'm not opposed to that theory, but you could make it make sense. I mean, not sense.
You could make
but
it
you could
make
tie
sense.
it to
that. Yeah, you could draw some lines there, but I still don't know if a ghost is going to be manifesting real human blood.
Do you feel the most powerful and beautiful with the elements of the earth around you? Do you like one-of-a-kind jewelry? Do you sometimes feel like a woodland fairy? Me too. That's why I created Holly and Hemlock, a magical shop filled with handmade wooden jewelry and metaphysical tools. Come check out our enchanting wooden wares at www.hollyhemlock.com and join us in honoring the magic and beauty of nature with each unique creation. That's www.hollyhemlock.com.
All right. Well, other theories are, of course, just paranormal, but not necessarily because of that car accident. People really think that is paranormal.
I mean, it's got a little demonic vibe to it.
Because it doesn't make sense. Like, where the hell did that blood come from? These other ones, I don't want to say are dumb, but I'm just like, okay. One theory is that the Winstons had issues with their adult children. Or should I say, like, their adult children had issues with them. Because Lieutenant Walker had said in that one article or that one quote that he thought it could be a hoax, Rebecca Long, who was part of like the Georgia Skeptics, published a piece about the house and how it was a hoax and that the children did it because there was tension in the family. And I'm just like,
okay.
You're gonna somehow break into your parents' house, pour blood everywhere?
The only thing is...
For what?
I don't know about the blood, but the children could have the ability to arm and disarm the security system.
But it would tell you. Like your security.
What year is this?
87. That they still, because that was when it would go to a dispatcher. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it would.
Right.
Okay. Whatever. Another was that when the Winstons wanted more family time and attention with their adult children, causing them to stage this in hopes of that happening. However, to me, that's stupid because I don't. Where would you come up with this idea? And where the F did they get the blood then? It's still like, it's not theirs. And like, if I'm trying to get attention from my children specifically, I'm not going to just pour blood all over my house and then call the police.
I will say, though, there's a little bit to it where they could possibly have gotten a bit of blood for the dialysis.
Let me continue on. Okay. So in addition to it just being a hoax, people think that they were just looking for attention in general, maybe to profit. Yeah, maybe they could have somehow got blood from the dialysis center or whatever it is, maybe. And so just generally they were looking for attention. But this part really doesn't make sense to me because neither wanted to even talk about it further than the investigation. So attention doesn't make sense to me as far as just like attention as a whole or to profit, because they never wanted to talk to reporters. They did talk to a few people, but they really just locked themselves in their home after this because they didn't want any attention media. So to me, that part doesn't make sense. Maybe you want attention from your children and you thought this would go a different way. Maybe. But the media part doesn't make sense because they'd never profited off of this.
But yeah, then you'd call your children, not the cops.
That's what, yeah. And it's just like, again, I don't know where they get the blood. I don't know. Minnie even started telling everyone that that it wasn't blood at all. It was muddy rust water coming from a hot water heater that had burst in the basement. This is what she started telling.
See?
Yeah, but that's not.
I was close.
You were, but even though that this wasn't like it was a fact proven wrong that it was blood, she started telling people that because she was so sick of the attention and people coming to her house that she just started saying, nope, it wasn't blood at all, even though that was a lie.
So who proved it was blood?
Well, I mean, they did a whole investigation. They had a lab test it all.
Okay.
Like the police did. They had a whole,
Got it.
They were really thinking that there was a victim at first.
Weird.
So Kurt Rowlett was a paranormal researcher that did spoke to the family, Minnie and Willie. And Minnie just didn't want to believe that it could be anything paranormal. So she just wasn't going to believe it. So she stated that if the substance had actually been blood, that she would not be willing to stay in the house anymore. And that she didn't want to believe it was paranormal. She just didn't want to. So I guess being a bit delulu helped her keep living in the house, even though it's...
God, I hate that.
Delulu?
Yeah, I keep hearing that on TikTok now.
Oh, really? Never heard it on TikTok.
I don't know why. Oh, it like tickles my brain.
Okay, being a bit delusional helped her stay in the house.
There we go.
Which I guess you got to do what you got to do to trick your brain. But girl, that was blood. And it was proven to you. So, I don't know. Okay, and then the next one I could see more than the others, like aside from the paranormal, because I still do think that this could be something oddly paranormal.
You are always the first to believe.
Yeah. Winston's daughter was a nurse. The thought was that she was able to obtain the blood because of that fact, which makes sense. She allegedly threw it all over the house in hopes of making her parents look incompetent or insane so that she could take over their finances.
Yeah, she would probably be the first in line to start doing caregiving.
But
maybe she hid in the crawl space because they found blood there after they armed the system.
Yeah.
And she just went on.
But it's like, I know this is in the 80s, like the later 80s, but I would still think that they would be able to somehow prove that she stole the blood. Like blood had been missing from the hospital that she was working at. Like, you know what I mean? Like there are still records of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but not that good.
No, not like there are today, but I still think that you would have like, oh yeah, you know what? We kind of did come up like a little bit short on type O blood. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But that part kind of makes more sense to me because I don't want to say it was fully known or proven, but it was brought up a lot that there was tension between them and their kids. So this could make sense if she was trying to prove that they were a little bit, insane or they couldn't take care of their finances so that she could take over and put them in a home, take the house, whatever she wanted to do. It still doesn't make entire sense to me how she would be able to disarm and then rearm without it being on
she
record.
Was in the crawl space the whole
time. But then when the cops come, how did she just like get through not being seen? The cops found the blood in the crawl space. So,
yeah.
Do
we know what the tension between the parents and the
children I
children
couldn't
is?
find anything. I'm sure it's just normal freaking bullshit. I mean, they grew up in the 80s. They were probably treated not really great. Like, I'm sure they had some trauma from their parents.
Fair
like, I don't know.
Enough.
This is all alleged. I don't know.
Allegedly.
So yeah, I guess what one would you go with, or do you have a different conclusion now that we're in 2023?
I was really kind of thinking like sewer backup or whatever until you're saying it actually tested for blood.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'd want to see more on the results of that.
I know.
To see if like
it's really weird
because it is also the 80s. So was it actually blood, or is that just like the game of telephone that's kind of been
no? There was, and I didn't quote her, but the woman that did the blood samples said that she was totally just freaked out by this because she was doing all of the the blood work or whatever, and she just couldn't get over the fact that there was this was human blood. And
I would kind of say like demonic possession, and or not possession. It wouldn't just be like a one and done situation.
Yeah, and it's
I'm kind of on the kids.
Yeah, you know me, I always want to go towards the more paranormal side of things, and also when you are so close to death, or that veil, if you will, like Willie was,
right?
You do experience a lot more when you're younger, when you're just closest to being born and then closest to being dead.
Yeah.
You do experience a lot more. So it's like it could be something with that in a really weird, screwed up way, but it just doesn't make sense.
I kind of want to know more about how dialysis machines in the 80s worked. Like maybe there is a blood bank in it. I don't know.
But how would it get in the crawl space? It was everywhere.
And it would be so different, I guess, if like they had really leaned into the attention-seeking behavior or the media or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm kind of thinking it was the nurse. She wanted to make some quick money.
But I mean, it didn't work. So that really sucks for her. Like, what?
Do you hear all these fucking planes in the background today?
Now I do, now that you said something, but I didn't when we were talking. Goddamn planes. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I do think it's maybe the daughter that was trying to get some proof that they were insane, get them out of there, get the house, the money, whatever. I guess that does make the most logical sense. I still don't understand the alarm and stuff, but it was the 80s, so maybe it wasn't logged as detailed, or maybe they didn't look into the log. I didn't see anything about that, so I don't know. The wildest part to me is that it's still unsolved. And Willie and Minnie remained in the home until they passed away. Willie died a few years after the horrific mystery, and Minnie lived until she was 104. And and she died in 2015. No other residents of the home came forward, at least, with any claims.
That was my next question.
Yep, so nobody at least came forward of any claims of unknown blood on the walls. And yeah, that's really about it. And that is the crazy story of the Bleeding House of Atlanta.
Was it only on the interior?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to look for any other explanation that my brain.
This is why I did this. So I heard, I was listening to the Two Girls, One Ghost podcast, and they had a guest, what is it called? On another episode, another people come on their episode, a cross episode. And I can't remember who it was, but they were like just doing short little blurps of stories to each other. And they were talking about this. And I was like, wait, what the actual hell? I have to look into this more, because I don't.
Are there any other houses this has happened to? Did you look that up at all?
When you type in bleeding house, this is the only damn one. Even if you don't type in Atlanta, you're like house bleeding house. This is the only thing that pops up.
Just Atlanta.
Yeah, so I really don't have any idea. Like, I guess you could go through, maybe it's the paint, like the lead and the weird chemicals in the paint, but then it's like, why was it on the floor? How was it in the crawl space?
But you wouldn't get a blood type
and you wouldn't get a blood type out of it. That's what trips me back every time, is that it was actual blood.
Same, because I could come up with 10 wild theories right now.
Yours was a really good one, and then Minnie just saying that it was muddy rust water from the whatever it was coming through vents and shit. That makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. And that would kind of be that weird bloody color, like you said, like the clay kind of has that rusty, but it's, I don't know.
Did they have an air conditioner?
I don't know, but it still wouldn't be. What do you think? Like an animal got put in it? But it's human blood. Or, somebody put their hand in it?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe. Okay, here, I got one. You just said it.
The maintenance man was fixing it in his hand.
Yeah, fixing it, put their hand in the blades. Okay, now it's traveling through your HVAC system.
And it got into the crawl space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, who doesn't cool their crawl space?
Your face when I said that was so angry, because you're like, shit.
That's the best I can do for you.
No, I like it.
It's either nurse hiding in the crawl space or maintenance guy's arm.
I do think that most stories, articles, even when I was listening to this, like on other podcasts, they do really lean into the paranormal part of it, which is like what I want to do. And I kind of still do, only because of the blood part doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
But the daughter really does make sense in that aspect, because we know how weird people are when it comes to money and family issues. They'll kind of do. I mean, like, she wasn't killing them. She was just kind of trying to prove that they were insane. So.
And like if they're proven insane and in bad health, like of course they're gonna give the power of attorney is what's coming to mind, but like the decision making power over to the daughter.
Right, exactly. So I like that theory, but it still just doesn't make sense about so many other things. But anyway, like I said, that is the wild adventure of the Bleeding House of Atlanta that I still can't get over.
As many mysteries as we're doing, we almost just need to change our catchphrase to, and you know what? We're just never going to know, because that's how I feel like we've ended the last 10 episodes.
And this is what keeps me up at night, is on these weird things that like I just can't figure out, and I just have to give up in my brain, even though it's like I don't want to give up, because that's just like it doesn't make sense. So that's why I think I lean to paranormal, because paranormal is so many different avenues and weird things that I can just be like, oh yeah, it's paranormal. Yeah.
Catch-all.
Yeah, exactly. It's a catch-all. Perfect. Paranormal.
All right. Well, when you can't sleep tonight, text me your new theory that you come up with.
Okay.
But anyways, nice job. No, for some reason, I thought the name sounded familiar, but I've never heard of the Bleeding
All right.
House
Well, I'm
before,
glad
so
you haven't.
You finally got me on a new one.
I'm glad you have not. That's exciting. I actually kind of thought you would know it, but okay, cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, you got me. You got me for once.
All right. Well, I just lost my brain. We appreciate.
I saw that. I got you for a second.
We appreciate you.
Before she's gonna say what she's gonna say.
No, I was just gonna say we appreciate you all. Somebody write us one more story.
That's what it is. One more story. Okay, Mariel, we're looking for one more story. You started to write one in an email. We're looking at you. Number 4. We're finally going to bust out that bonus episode before summer's
Yeah, we're
done.
calling you out. Give us that story.
We also appreciate all the love you've been dropping.
Yes, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you feel so inclined, write us a review.
Please.
And then Kara.
And tell me I'm pretty. That's what you wanted me to say?
I was waiting for the like and
all
subscribe.
Right,
and
subscribe. And most importantly, creep it really, oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.